Let's imagine this. Game 7 of the NBA Finals. There's only 3 seconds left on the game clock. The score is 97-99, and your favorite team is down by 2 points. One last play can either make or break the game, the series, and most importantly, the NBA championships. The ball is inbounded, a shot is quickly taken beyond the 3-point range. As soon as the ball is at the fingertips, you hear the buzzer. The shot continues through, and it's a perfect arch. Swish. Now, the crowd is on their feet going completely insane. But now the question that everyone needs to be answered is, was the shot good? Today, I will be talking about the use of the NBA instant replay, and despite the many concerns some fans may have towards it, why it is crucial and such an important aspect to the NBA officiated procedure. Within my speech, I will be explaining what the NBA instant replay is, the history of how and why it was implemented, and the situations in game in which instant replay may be used. And finally, I will give a few examples of instant replay in use and the outcomes they had on a game. Most of you already know what the NBA instant replay is, but for those of you who don't, let me explain. The NBA instant replay is the use of video footage to review a previous play in order to clarify or overturn a ruling that an official has made during a game. Officials use various techniques of reviewing video footage in order for them to make the proper call. These techniques include slow motion, freeze frame, and frame by frame review in order for the officials to make clear a play that occurred too quickly. Or officials may also access video footage from various camera angles so that they can see a play from various angles to ensure clarity versus one officiator's angle of vision. The first implementation of the NBA instant replay was during the 2000 and 2003 NBA season after a series of controversial plays that occurred during the postseason of the previous season. Stu Jackson, the NBA's senior vice president for basketball operations, explained, "As we saw last season, last-second plays sometimes occur in which it is impossible for a human being to determine whether the play took place before time expired. In those circumstances, the game officials will now have the use of instant replay to assist them in making the right call." After defining the NBA instant replay and reviewing the history of the NBA instant replay, I would like to continue to the situations in game when the replay may be used. The NBA instant replay may be used in many various situations to determine various matters. Although the instant replay is often used, there are a set of circumstances that must occur for an official to actually be able to view the instant replay. These circumstances are referred to the NBA as an instant replay review trigger. Triggers in situations as stated in the NBA rulebook, which include a field goal being made with no time on the clock, a flagrant foul being called, when a player altercation occurs, and when officials aren't sure who caused the ball to go out of bounds. Although I gave a good amount of examples of such instances which would trigger an instant replay, those are not all of them. Following the trigger of an instant replay review, officials can also review other matters, as stated in the NBA rulebook, which include the review of whether or not the ball left the shooter's hand before the clock's expiration, whether or not a fouled shooter was in 2-point or 3-point range, and whether a flagrant foul that was called can be downgraded to either a personal or technical foul. And also, they can review the involvement of each player in a player altercation. After explaining the instances in which the instant replay may or not be used by officials, I'd like to finally continue to some examples that are made that possibly could have resulted in extremely different outcomes if it weren't for the usage of the instant replay review. My first example would be the instance in which caused the NBA to actually implicate the instant replay review system. Contrary to my other example, this instance was never able to be corrected since it occurred before the implication of instant replay review. During Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Sacramento Kings, Lakers forward Samiki Walker made a 3-pointer as time expired in the first half. The ruling during the game was that the point was good, but later on it was revealed that the shot was not actually good because the ball left the hand after the clock expired. The Lakers went on to win the game, and following they won the series, and they moved on to the NBA Finals. Had only the instant replay review been implicated, there could have been a possibility of completely different outcomes, of not only in the outcome of the game, the outcome of the series, and finally, the outcome of the NBA championships, which the Lakers continue to win. My second example is a very popular example in which I'm pretty sure everybody in this classroom has either witnessed or has at least heard of. This example is of the shot that was made in 4/10 of a second, which would be considered by many basketball fans to be the highlight of Derek Fisher's career. During Game 5 of the Western Conference semifinals, when the San Antonio Spurs were hosting the Los Angeles Lakers, Tim Duncan shot a nearly impossible jumper over Shaquille O'Neal of the Lakers, which put the Spurs in the lead at 73-72 with only 0.4 seconds left. As Gary Payton of the Lakers was set to inbound from the sideline, the Spurs had both Shaq and Kobe, the go-to man's blanketed in coverage. Payton waited for a perfect play, and Derek Fisher just happened to break free. In a single motion, Fisher caught the ball, shot a fadeaway jumper from 20 feet out over Spurs Manu Ginobili's outstretched arms. Every single fan inside the San Antonio SBC Center was in disbelief that an inbound turn and shoot can all occur in less than 4/10 of a second. After official review, the referees revealed that the shot was good. The Lakers then continued to eliminate the Spurs at Game 6 in the series, then further continuing and eventually also winning the conference finals. Due to the possibility of human error, the intensity of a postseason basketball game, and other determining factors, it is physically impossible for officials to never make mistakes. Stu Jackson, the NBA's Senior Vice President for Basketball Operations, was one of the key players in influencing the implication of the NBA Instant Replay review. Jackson stated, "I don't think there was any one event that drove this decision, but certainly during the past season and the playoffs, there are a number of instances where, quite frankly, for any human being, it would have been impossible to determine whether the shot got off in time." After explaining the NBA Instant Replay review, the situations in which they may be used, and also depicting defining moments in the NBA in which the Instant Replay review was used, it is, in despite of what any contradictory fan may say, the Instant Replay system is an extremely important implication in the NBA officiating process. The NBA is the third of 4 major professional sports leagues, joining the NFL and the NHL, which all use the instant replay officiating symbol. So it is very clear that instant replay is not only important in the NBA, but in sports in general. Thank you.
Caroline?
I thought it was good. The intro was really illustrative, and I got like the picture of that happening in my mind. He had a really clear preview. I like how he described how and why the instant replay would be used, and he had a lot of facts and support to say why it's needed. So I thought it was overall really good.
All right, I like the visualization at the beginning as well. I thought that the best part of the speech was how well organized it was, and you had really clear transitions, and they were smooth. The only part in the body that I thought was a little problematic was in the opening when you kind of make that self-reference to in the speech today. You know, just tell us what it is you're going to try and do today. You don't have to acknowledge that it's a speech. So I thought very good transitions in the body of the speech. I thought that worked really well, and all the structural stuff was good. At the end, there wasn't much of a summary of the content, but there was a good summary of the idea that you were talking about. You're basically confirming a point of view on something that's already in place and saying that this was a right decision, that it's necessary and needed. I'm not sure how much controversy there is on that point now. So that might have been something that you could have brought up a little bit more to make it seem like it's more persuasive than it is merely informative for us. You had very good illustrations, and I thought you described the illustrations pretty well, trying to get us involved in them. You do an okay job reading